Joining me today is UIndy volleyball head coach Jason Reed and outside hitter Katie Furlong. Coach and Katie, you guys had a pretty great season this last fall. Obviously ended a little too early, but 21 wins, most wins in the last few years for you guys. Jason, just kind of touch on the positives overall from September to November when the season ended.
Well, it's kind of like you said, it was a cool season just because we finally kind of got over the hump there to get back into the NCAA tournament. And, every team in the country is going to work hard and going to try and do the right things to make it to that level. And so, this year was no different in terms of an effort standpoint and focus, but it's really cool to kind of see it evolve where I want to say Katie's freshman year, we were not so, I think we had a losing record, and then the opposite year, the wins and losses flipped. And then, the junior year for her, you kind of see the progression of it. And so it's been neat to watch it continue to progress. And so, I guess that's the cool part for me is just watching the evolution. With each class, we bring in new things, and there's good things and things that we need to work on. But for me personally, that's really cool just to see how things change and evolve over time.
And so, Katie, expanding on that, the team a couple years ago wasn't so good, and you've seen a slow progression since you've been at UIndy. What was the difference this past season compared to 2017 and 2018?
So I think the biggest thing was implementing our new system. So when Julie came in my sophomore year, we were just learning it and getting used to it. And then the next year we had more experience with it. And then with that, like the more you do it, the better you get at it. So it was nice to be able to see that improve. And I just think that getting used to the system was really helpful for us, and it helped us be better, keep getting better every year.
All right, the consistency was a little better this past fall, as both of you probably stood out. Another big win. I know don't want to always harp on beating Lewis, but had a chance to sweep them, end up beating them still in 5. Katie, it's back-to-back years now beating them at home. What's kind of, do you guys show up more for Lewis or the bigger teams, I should say, or is it just a consistency factor day in and day out?
I think that it actually is one of our weaknesses, to be honest. We show up the most. We get the most excited for those teams, which is a good thing. But then we tend to not show up in the same amounts all the time. But we always show up for Lewis. It's very consistent, especially at home, because we always want to beat them. And now that we know what that feels like, we're going to want to beat them every time. And I think just knowing that we can do it also helps, because we've done it a couple times now. So.
Yeah. So for both of you, what's got to change to just bring that same intensity every match, no matter who you're playing?
That's such a tough challenge because, Katie just brought up some really cool mental pieces there. It's something that we can control. We have the ability to look at whoever's on the other side of the net and pretend that it's somebody else, or, pretend that they're another 25-win team, or we have the ability to do those things, but it's easier said than done. And I wish it, the coach speak is to say oh, well, we treat them all the same. And we, honestly, God, we do. In practice, the practices don't change. We're not doing anything differently from that standpoint. But it is a challenge when you start looking across the net and there's you have some people that maybe you played with in club, or, there's these connections that go a little bit deeper. And I think it is easier to get up for some teams versus others. And I think that there is some maturity that goes along with that in being able to go, I don't care who's on the other side, we want to crush them. And so obviously that's how we want to, that's the point that we want to get to. And I think that could very much be a part of the next step of our evolution as a group.
Yeah, so Jason, the other day you kind of mentioned when we were talking about if we want to focus on a certain match, if I thought it was weird, Hillsdale was kind of your favorite, the NCAA tournament one. And I don't think it was weird because obviously it was, if not one of the best volleyball matches the team played this year. Katie, what's kind of your first thought hearing and that loss, even though obviously it's a ton of positives, was kind of your coach's maybe favorite quote unquote match of the year?
I almost agree with him, and that was one of my favorite matches too. It sucks losing, but like if you're losing like that, like we were learning the whole time we were playing, and we were able to take that into our next season. And wins where you can learn from stuff are the most important, or even if it's a loss that you can learn from stuff. And I think that was probably the best match we played the whole entire year. And it was just really exciting to go out like that, like knowing that we played our absolute best. And I think that everyone was all in, and it was just a really great match. That was one of my favorites too.
Jason, every time we talk, you're more excited for this coming year now. A whole bunch coming back, great freshmen coming in. What makes you so excited? These last couple of years, the growth has been easily recognizable. What makes you so excited for this coming year?
Well, a couple of things, and I think the first one, honestly, is that we've been locked down for the last couple of months. So I think there's an anticipation that's because of that. We're all anxious, and we just made an announcement to the group that we're implementing some plans to get not everybody, but some of the returning folks back on campus here this summer. And so we're obviously excited about that. But Katie mentioned a slower growth. And so I think that that's a very valuable thing. You don't want to just have this flash in the pan thing. And we've kind of been slowly working to get better a little bit each year and not necessarily rush that process. And so the defensive stuff that we've been doing is now in year 3, or kind of like 2.5, because we missed spring. And so it'll be an exciting time to see the continued evolution of that component. Throw in all the reps, and you can say all you want, like there's got to give an ability, but like, man, if you're not putting in the time in the gym to get better at your craft, it's going to make a difference. And so for these guys, talk about Katie and some of the other guys, that the number of balls that they pass over the course of 4 years is astronomical. The number of times that they have to connect with the setters, the number of times they work on blocking, the number of times that they do all these things is huge. And so obviously every year we bring in a new group, and they have to begin that process, and it kind of just keeps rolling itself over. But from a system standpoint, it's cool it's going to be neat to see. From just getting out of my house, it's going to be really exciting for that. And we haven't seen each other other than on a screen for months. So there's a lot to look forward to moving forward here.
Katie, a lot of personal accolades the last couple of years, but quite haven't gotten to that team conference championship, your team goals quite yet. It's your senior year. Maybe not what your goals are, but how do you plan on leading the team to get to the ultimate goal?
I think just leading by example, trying to do everything the right way. Even obviously volleyball is a game of mistakes. You're not going to be perfect all the time, but just to show that you're leading in the proper way and doing the right things over and over again. Because if you do them over and over again, people are going to follow you. And honestly, just trying to keep what I'm doing. Like I want to win just as bad as everybody else. And I think if everybody else sees how much we all want to win, then we're all going to follow that way. And we've never had a problem with that. So I think it'll be a great season.
Awesome. Well, it was a great season in 2019. Looking forward to 2020, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.